So what will be the implications of a change in capital structure? We said that of who now? Pursuit Co or the combined company? How do they say it? Because they are the same thing. Of the combined company.
Of the combined company.
Imply that the value of the work calculated above would no longer be appropriate. And if this is so, the expression. To change, then it means a change in this. So they need if it's that they are could also be then what's this? Lilian,
Yes.
what's this one now? Bless you. So there are three. Which the process. However, okay, so at that point, I'll be change in financial risk as a result of the capital shock.
Yes. Thank you.
Okay, so that's that. Huh? The last part, I say you want to do assignment for this part. Hello, madam. I'm still in this class, but once I'm done, I'll call you. I'll soon be done. You say what? You want to do the assignment?
What assignment?
The defense against hostile takeover now.
Yeah.
So what did they say?
That,
Nobody's answering me. The thing is so frustrating. I don't know. I just tired.
is that how? So you ask me in an exam, I should write them assignments.
Yes, now. Yes, now. It's not.
I have to. I think I'm not. I have the answer of.
Defense from B from viable option. Suppose connection. Suppose the 20 million is a round of strategy for defense. The of what do you think about? So I was saying the effective of this strategy will be dependent on if the cash reserves are the attraction of what's that SGF co.
Yeah.
So that's another point. I want to get 5. Then
Yeah.
the next thing is another issue would be whether or not the shareholders would appreciate the cash being disbursed or whether they would prefer the cash being used for favorable investment opportunities by the company. Okay, so this is market segmentation now. So I said that market segmentation argues that stakeholders or shareholders will generally be in different segments, and that's market segmentation, liquidity preference, expectation. So yeah, market segmentation, so that shareholders will generally be in their own segment, and if a shareholder is investing in a company, then the shareholder already knows their end game. They already know what they expect from that company. And so giving them cash reserves when they want to invest in that company to be able to increase its value over time will not necessarily excite those shareholders. Do you get the point I'm making?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Now, what else? What else?
There's another thing. I don't know if it's part of the answer, but here they said he considered that this would increase Pursuitco's gearing level, but suggested it may increase the company's share price and make Pursuitco less appealing to SGF. The increasing of the gearing level, could it be a defense?
A defense, but it will be a comment in that defense. We are saying the appropriateness of that strategy. So we can consider that the increase in gearing level as a result. Okay, now potential, and I like to use potential a lot because it's not something that we are sure of. So the potential increase in gearing level as a result of the proposal recommendation
to acquire.
You said?
I'm listening. Sorry.
Yeah. I said that the potential increase in gearing levels as a result of the recommendation is also something that should be considered as bankruptcy costs that may arise can have detrimental effects on the company. I don't know whether that's part of what you are saying. You said something about share price. They said it will increase their share price. However, there's also the issue that gearing can actually have very, very negative effects on them. Is this fine?
I don't know how I'll link this point to the crown jewel, because the main subject here is the crown jewel, is it not?
Yeah, we have already said that the CFO's recommendation to dispose of the 20 million cash reserves is a crown jewel defense against the potential takeover.
Yes.
And we now said the effectiveness of this strategy will be dependent on if the cash reserves are the attraction of SGFco. So if the cash reserves are not the attraction of SGFco, then that strategy, that potential strategy will not be effective at all. They will still pursue the company.
Yeah. Okay.
You get what I'm saying?
But yeah, now we are talking about the potential increase in gearing.
Yes.
Is it after the recommendation, assuming the recommendation comes to be?
No, we're saying that now in considering whether they said whether the appropriateness of disposing that 20 million. So if we're looking at the appropriateness, we're saying if you dispose that 20 million, you appreciate that your gearing level can go up, and that if your gearing level goes up, this can have a negative effect on the company. So it's still part of the appropriateness. If you get what the question is requiring, it says, how appropriate is it to throw away 20 million? So crown jewel is not the whole answer. It has to be more than crown jewel.
I get it now.
All right, sir. Then the only thing I can think of is saying that maybe other strategies can be considered. It will be important. So maybe I can put either there up or down. So it will be important for pursuits management to appreciate the attraction of SGF and sentiments of each shareholders and consider other defense or the effectiveness and consider the effectiveness of other defense strategies before making a decision. What's bothering me now is that once I've started writing this kind of thing, like if I'm in the, like if I'm writing a something for a company inside an office, then it's no longer practicable for exam. It's not humanly possible to be replicating this kind of thing in the hall. That's the only thing that is making me not feel very comfortable, because I'm just doing exactly what any other structured answer would be. It's no longer the answer of an exam again. Okay, so now conclusion. But what I'm trying to do in every part is do at least the mark allocation to that question, which is also not possible under exam. But of course, the argument is that it at least helps us to get clarity on how to write and write effectively in the exam. But what I've seen is number 1 point, number 2 points, number 3 points was very long, number 4.2 was very long, number 5 point was 2 points actually. So there were two things I talked about in terms of the shareholders, in terms of both the stakeholders, both shareholders and the potential suitor, and in terms of other defense strategies. So I could have made those 2 points instead of 1 point and got 2 marks and removed maybe one very long thing that I've written here, particularly the 3rd point. Okay, so what's our conclusion? So we can say the report has looked at a range of issues concerning the proposed takeover bid of SGF more of the proposed acquisition of Fodaco comma there is a high likelihood based on estimates that the acquisition premium would erode any potential synergy benefits. Do contact me if there is further need for clarification. I always said, please don't be tempted to overwrite in the conclusion. The person can go and read the rest of your write-up if the person wants to have further details on things like the defense against the takeover bid and the rest of them. Just don't be drawn into writing more than 2 or 3 sentences in 1 or 2 paragraphs. So that's basically that. Was it 36 marks or so? Yeah, the rest of it is 14 and so 36. William? Yeah. Okay, just wanted to find out. Is Nebi here?